Hello, welcome. This is Nathan Anderson from Yogic-Visions. We're here this morning with Ron Russell at the SunCafe in Studio City, California, and we're going to be learning about raw foods and how they can benefit the body. Ron, welcome. Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much, Nathan.
So tell us, why raw foods?
Well, raw food has three basic benefits. Humans are the only ones that actually eat cooked food. So our bodies are really designed for raw food. Number one, it has more nutrition. As soon as you start cooking food, you're killing nutrients, you're killing vitamins because they're heat sensitive. So you're not getting the full benefit of the plant from cooking it. Number two, enzymes start degrading at 118 degrees, and what that means is enzymes are in the plant to help you digest it. If you eliminate those, your body has to work overtime to produce its own enzymes to digest it, and also you're not going to get the full nutrients because the enzymes help you to absorb those nutrients. And then the third item is you're getting alkalinity through raw food. Our diets in America tend to be very acidic. Meat, dairy, sugar, wheat are all acidic. And the body actually is most healthy when it's more alkaline. And so with raw food, you're getting more of that alkalinity, which will help your body to stay healthy.
Gotcha. So vitamins, enzymes, and alkalinity.
Right.
Three main components. And you said 118 degrees, is that like the cutoff point?
It starts degrading enzymes at 118 degrees. So like we will dehydrate things to get different textures and flavors and all up to 118 degrees, and so we can make bread, we can make maybe not traditional bread, but we make a kind of bread, we make pizza crust, we make burgers. And
so you got different processes to get
right
flavors and all the things that
to bring out the flavors. We use a lot of herbs and seasoning, and so you're not gonna feel like you're eating straw right here.
Well, that's a big concern. I know a lot of people do eat for taste.
Yes.
But people are coming around to understanding that food is for nutrition.
Right. I mean, we like to address both. I mean, that was part of the emphasis behind the restaurant was we never want anyone to go away feeling deprived by what they ate. We want them to feel like this is every bit as good as anything else I've ever had. And so we've really worked on a menu. In fact, we had kind of a funny process when we were designing the menu. We actually had 6 tasters that had to approve a recipe.
All right.
2 of them were meat eaters, and the other 4 were vegetarians, which we are a vegetarian restaurant. But we required everyone to agree that it was a great dish, that they would come back, and we threw out 60 or 70 great recipes that maybe 5 people liked, but 1 person didn't, and that was enough. We wanted it to really appeal to everybody.
It's a very stringent process.
It was. It was frustrating, but it was worth it.
Well, you must have great chefs. You must be working on a great crew.
Yes. Many people have contributed to the menu. It's not a single chef. I've added items to the menu. My partner, Rebecca Smith, she's added items. She's done all our desserts. All our desserts are gluten-free. We also have Chef Rachel Carr. Rachel Carr is a very good raw chef and vegan chef, and a lot of experience, and she's been doing a great job.
Nice. And you mentioned gluten-free. I know that a lot of people, they may not be a vegetarian per se, but they're coming to a more natural diet through food allergies, gluten, dairy, things like that.
Yes, we definitely see a lot of people with some kind of allergy. Gluten is a very common one. Dairy is probably even more common. And people have started to notice how their body feels after eating some of the things. A lot of people talk about eating gluten and feeling very tired afterwards. It's a sign that your body is having to work overtime to digest that food, and that's a part of what can show an allergy, or there can be more acute symptoms, certainly.
Yeah. I know that in Eyesight, in Yoga for Eyesight, which we're working on currently, diet is one of the issues.
Right.
And how diet impacts the body. We talk about basically the trouble of digesting food, the amount of effort it puts on, the deleterious effects. So tell us a bit about how nutrition can aid the body, any case studies, any kind of references?
I mean, well, one thing that even the medical profession, who generally doesn't take diet too seriously, even they have come to the conclusion that eating less seems kind of obvious, but eating less actually can help the body. Don't eat to the point of feeling heavy is obviously kind of the first step. But also raw food, I've discovered many times myself, I'm not purely raw, I'm probably about 75% raw. But if I'm feeling the least bit of like a cold might be coming on, if I turn 100% raw, start drinking some juice, fresh juices, I never get a cold. I mean, I've had maybe one cold in the last 10 years. You just never get sick, if you give the body what it needs to fight off and build up your immune system.
I felt the same way, and I heard a lot of other vegetarians kind of report the same thing. The time they spent being sick dramatically decreases.
Absolutely. I mean, most people, I think it's normal to have a cold a couple times a year, and I just don't, and the people around me don't, that are strict about their diet, and so I think a lot of it can be overcome. And certainly we've seen that with customers that have even reported to me that doctors gave up on their cancer. They said, you have 2 months to live. And they went to an all raw diet, juicing, building up the body's immune system to help battle the cancer. And we have one customer, he's like 34 years old. He's been cancer-free now 5 years when his doctors gave up on him.
Wow.
And we've seen that with many different conditions. People have mentioned to me that this is how they overcame it.
So are there any organizations that kind of support this, or especially with regard to health, that believe in this type of approach?
Right. They're probably one of the main founders of this kind of thought about raw food and its benefit to the body, at least formally, was Hippocrates Institute in Florida. It was founded by Ann Wigmore and another physician, a medically trained doctor, in the late 50s, I believe it was. So they've been around quite a while, and they cure using mostly green juices, fresh vegetables, and so on, but a lot of juicing, getting so much benefit from the juice. Wheatgrass, Ann Wigmore discovered wheatgrass. Now it's mainstream, everybody has heard of wheatgrass. And it's, those kinds of things that can really help build the body's immune system. They use other therapies there, but it's run by actual MDs. And so they take a scientific approach, but more alternative type treatments than just adding prescriptions to someone.
It's nice to see that the medical establishment coming around to the holistic views, where they're starting to share.
Certainly a segment.
You don't want to have this fight between East and West as commonly termed.
Use the best of both.
Yeah, very much
Makes sense.
Good.
And there are other organizations like Hippocrates, but they're like the founders, and seem like they've done a really good job of understanding. I mean, we've had people in the restaurant, several people that have mentioned that they were cured of cancer at Hippocrates by doing the juices and so on, and changing their lifestyle. Diabetes, someone had very severe diabetes that wasn't very controlled even with insulin, and they've overcome that. And so we've heard a lot of really good things about them in particular.
That's really heartwarming. Is when you get the order from the doctor, you feel like that's the final step. Yeah. But there are other steps that people can take.
There are, for sure.
It's wonderful. I know that they, I can't remember who it said, but let your food be your medicine.
Right.
It was one of the guiding principles when medicine was first starting. And
of course.
So tell us about some of the specialty foods you make here.
We really go for taste. Health is also important, but we really want people to feel like this is among the best food they've ever had. So we really go for taste. We make 4 of our own cheeses. We make a nacho cheese, a cashew cheese, a pecan garlic cheese that's kind of like a Parmesan cheese. We make our own pizza crust out of nuts and seeds, which sounds weird, but it's very tasty. We have our own burgers, which we make from sunflower seeds and Brazil nuts and all sorts of spices, and then dehydrate it. It's very filling. It's very satisfying. We've had people really say it was the best burger, especially veggie burger they've ever had. So we go for really interesting, full flavors. We have a great lasagna. We have some cooked foods, like we do a really nice risotto out of quinoa rather than rice. Quinoa is probably the healthiest grain you can eat. Very high in protein, high in nutrients.
And I know you have some wonderful desserts. I've had a couple of them, especially the Kale Shake. I quite enjoyed.
Yes, Kale Shake sounds scary, but we've had people become addicted to it. We had one gentleman come 52 weeks in a row, or 52 days in a row for the Kale Shake. And it actually just recently won as the best smoothie in Los Angeles by SeriousEats.com.
Now, it may seem difficult to approach for people at home, this type of a diet, so I understand you teach classes.
We do. We have a cooking class every Saturday morning at 9:30 at this point. They teach at least 3 recipes each time, and they choose a different cuisine from around the world to give you lots of variety. I think they have something like 65 different classes that they've done in the past, different classes. So there's a lot of variety.
It must be a popular event.
Yes, we get around 30 people coming to the cooking class every week.
That's great. It's packed the place.
Yeah, it's full.
Well, I'll have to come and check it out myself. I've had several of the menu items. I've had the pizza.
Right.
I've had the Kale Shake, and I'll attest it was my favorite shake. So I'll have to learn more.
Right.
I cook at home, but you know, as a basic vegetarian, it's mostly tofu, zucchini, the basic stuff. So to hear that there's a whole range of other options is very encouraging.
And we're always adding things to the menu. We have specials all the time. One of my favorite things lately was a special we had was quinoa cakes. It was like a potato pancake almost, made out of quinoa. It was really good. So
what brought you into this field in the first place?
Well, I've been a vegetarian for 35 years. In fact, the way I became a vegetarian was I was a fry cook at a not a fast food place, but a nicer place, and it just got to be grotesque to see so much meat on a grill at one time, and you go home caked in grease or whatever. So I became a vegetarian, and then I started learning more about treatment of animals and pollution factors of eating meat and so on. Like, the #1 cause of water pollution in America is cattle production, things like that. And so I've become a vegetarian for many reasons, but I had this cooking background when I was going through college, and so I started making interesting vegetarian dishes, and people have always said, why don't you start a restaurant? So eventually I got there.
Great. Well, it's wonderful. You guys have done a great job, and I certainly enjoy my time when I come here and the food we have very much. So you guys have a website?
We do, SunCafe.com, and we have the menu, of course, on there. We often have like events including the cooking class, and so things like that are on there.
I know you do a lot of outreach. I originally bumped into you at the yoga studio.
Right.
And you were providing the food for one of their events.
Sure, yeah, we do a lot of that for yoga studios. Every couple of days we actually do a tasting at different health clubs. And we found, an open audience to wanting to learn about health, and it's a great way to meet people, let them know that the food exists. And it's funny because one of the things I love to demo is the Kale Shake we mentioned, because nobody thinks it's going to be good. And so they really not too sure about this, and then they taste it and it's like, wow, this is really good. And so it's just funny to see that expression, and I think in their minds they go, wow, if they can make kale taste this good, they probably got some good stuff.
Exactly. How's the pizza?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, we certainly appreciate you sitting down with us and chatting. It's been very illuminating for me, and hopefully for our viewers.
Thank you.
So keep up the great work, and can't wait to have lunch.
Excellent.